Okay, welcome to my first video for the New Albany Floyd County Schools Non-Traditional Education. I'm going to be working on this weaving today, something similar to this one, and I'm going to show you a couple different options that you could use. My daughter and I, we went out, of course, taking precautions, keeping our distance, and took a walk just to get some sunshine after being home for many days, and we found some sticks. So I thought it would be kind of fun to use something that's a memory from the time that we've been in our quarantine to have a little memory with something from a nature walk. So I took these sticks, and as you can see, they're pretty thick, but it's totally doable. And I've used a pretty chunky yarn. It doesn't really matter what yarn. You can use whatever yarn you have to do it. And so I'm actually going to show you this one today and just go through it with you. And then once your kids learn this, they can do it over and over again. And you can use pencils, you can use popsicle sticks, like I'm going to show you today, or you can use sticks like this group of sticks, which I will probably actually break and put them together to show you. Make sure that your wood, whatever it is pretty sturdy. If you have a little younger kid, you might prefer to do the popsicle stick because it doesn't have things that they can get hurt on. Most branches outside are okay, but just, make sure you're checking for little splinters or whatever. But if you don't have this, you can use pencils, you can use barbecue wooden skewers, you could use chopsticks, you could use old markers. I mean, really anything you have laying around will work. Okay, but I'm gonna do this just because it's kind of cool. You could even paint the sticks. I did get some branches and paint them, but I'm not using those today. You can see this one was one I got yesterday on our nature walk, and I painted it white. I thought about maybe doing a weaving in here, but we'll see if that happens later. I have so many ideas. I don't know. We may get to it. We may not. But you want to make sure your wood is sturdy and that you're not getting anything so brittle that when they start to put pressure on it that it snaps. So I'm going to set this one aside for a little bit. And I'm going to quickly show you how to do the popsicle stick one. For each one, you're going to need 3 popsicle sticks, any size, any width. Now, I happen to get these at Walmart, and they're a little fatter than I like. I actually think it works better to have the thinner and maybe even a longer size. So, but it doesn't matter. And you can break them apart if you want, but I don't recommend it for kids because you see there's some splintering and stuff. But I mean, if you're doing it yourself as a grown-up and you want it to be thinner, and you're going to get more area to wrap your string around, okay? But I'm not going to do that for kids because I don't want them to get splinters. So we're going to use these 3. So for each weaving, you're going to need 3 popsicle sticks. And there is a little bit of a trick to putting them together. It seems like it's a no-brainer, but just so that I can take away any mystery, we're going to make well, the reason I know this is because I did it wrong. With some of my special needs classes that I did this with, I had the wrong orientation. So our first thing is to make an X, but it's not a straight up and down X. It's more of an elongated X. So these 2 angles are going to be larger than these 2 angles. And that's for a reason. Because when we put our next dot of hot glue in the center, then we set this in the center and give it a good little press with our finger to make sure it's down. Now, I like using a hot glue gun. I don't recommend it for children. Older kids do fine with them, and you can get some that aren't as hot. But for things like this, it's just better for mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, aunt and uncle to help out a little bit and just do a little dot of glue. And the thing I like about this is that, I mean, you could use Elmer's glue, but you have to let it dry. And I'm impatient. When I get an idea, I want to do it. So as you can see, you can make as many of these as you want. You can even paint them. Some of my students you can use markers and you can color them with Crayola marker, or you can paint them with acrylic paint and let them dry. And, you know, the sky is the limit with these things. And, you know, for the most part, and I wouldn't recommend painting them after they're done, but, you know, kids can do the weavings and then color them with markers afterward if they decide that they would like that. Okay, so there's the popsicle stick version. And then I'm going to kind of show you how can I take this gnarly thing and make it into something. These are not super sturdy, but I like that they're smaller, and so that's why I picked it. So I'm going to just snap these off, and I'm probably going to make a big old mess, but that's okay. I like messes because I'm an artist. All right, so, and it's okay if they're not perfectly straight, but I do like, you know, the straight ones are kind of cool because it's a little easier to arrange them. So I think I'm going to go maybe with this guy. And as you see, I am trying to find ones that are mostly the same size. Now this one's curved a little bit much for my taste. Let me see if I have another one over here in my jar that I can work with. It's about the same size. Ooh, this is crazy. Let's see, that one's pretty gnarly. Let's try this guy right here. So I'm just gonna grab this and snap it. Now, if it's sharp, you do wanna do a little sandpaper or something under there, okay? So you see we have this hot mess here. And the reason why I wanted to get a different one is because I feel like this is a very nice one. Might be used in another weaving, but it's a different size than those, and it will change the look a little. So I'm gonna hold that for another project, and I'm gonna clear my space out a little bit here. And I only need 3. So this guy, I think he's curved, but he's less curved than him, so he'll wait for another project. And we're gonna keep these 3 guys here, and I'm gonna kind of eyeball it and just give it a little snap. Now you don't have to do it evenly, but sometimes that is more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. And make sure you don't bring any little critters in with you. I like to pull any loose stuff off just with my hands like this. And be careful, kids, because some of these little things are sharp. Just see if you can give them a little pop. It's okay if you leave them on there. This one's on the end. It won't bother anything. But just make sure that when you go to do it, it's not going to get all in your yarn. So you want to kind of get the major debris off, okay? So when you've done that, you can clear your space. Just swipe all this out of the way. And now we have our 3 pieces that we got from outside on our nature walk. Now, this part may be tricky to some people. You can tie this with the yarn if you want, but you're going to basically put it in the same orientation as the popsicle sticks were, with the larger angles here and the smaller angles inside on the sides. And then you're going to set this here like that and just give it a try and see if it's pleasing visually to you. For the most part it is. I have these little flangey things on the end, which I might end up getting rid of later, but for now it should be okay. And I love hot glue. You can hold it down and wrap it. You don't even have to have the hot glue for this particular part, but I do find that it looks nicer and it stays longer, especially with kids running around and playing with it. You want to make sure that it stays good and doesn't come unraveled. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to use our hot glue gun. And we're just putting the tiniest amount of glue on there, just enough to hold it. Now these might need a little bit more glue than the popsicle sticks because they're a little odd. Their shapes are rounded more than flat. So you will find, you want to try to keep it level while it's drying as much as possible. And just hold it like that. And then you want to put another one inside like this. And like I said before, you need to hold it in position. And get it glued. So what you're looking for is sort of a pizza pie shape where most of the spaces in between the sticks are about the same. Now, I want to tell you, this will not be perfectly sturdy because you see in here that they're all at different levels. So until you get that string wrapped around, do be careful not to dislodge it from the other sticks, okay? So that is a trick, and just kind of keep it still until you get it bound a little bit. Now the next choice that you have is to pick your center color. On this particular piece, I use this orange yarn, which is a little smaller than the outside colors. Now, I want to make a suggestion that for younger kids, this chunky yarn, like a 6, is really good because it works fast, it's really colorful, and it's not stressful to them because it's really large. And so they can see it, they can feel it, it's easier for them to get their hands on, and it yields a high success rate, and they're happy with what they've made. Okay, so I want to encourage you to use the fatter string for the little kids, but for the adults and the teenagers, they might enjoy doing something smaller with this regular sized, I forget what number this is. I think this is a 4. I got this at Walmart, and whatever colors you want to do are totally fine. I went and bought a couple of bright colors. I actually do crochet and knit, so I had this stuff laying around, but honestly, it doesn't even matter if the string is any color that you have will work, okay? Even if it's white, you could even use white cotton yarn and then use a marker or Sharpie to tie-dye it and spray it with alcohol or whatever to make it run. I mean, there's all kinds of options and things you can do. So, okay, I'm gonna set that aside. Without further ado, we've got our thing. He's mostly put together. And now we're gonna pick the center. I'm gonna actually try this sort of stripy Super Saver. It's really cheap. It's like Walmart for $3.97 or something in that range. And it's very economical. It's bright and colorful, lots of options, and easy to find. I'm sure you can order it online as well. Now the thing that I like to do is I like to start my center part in the back with a dot of hot glue. The other thing is, I forgot to bring myself a spoon, but I use a spoon for young kids or something like a ruler. And we place this here, and then something metal you can use to press it into place. Oh, thank you, helper. So here's an old spoon, and you can well, that didn't go like I planned. Okay, let's try that again. And that's exactly what I told you about. Coming off. Okay, so that happens. Let's fix it. Back to the drawing board. I'm going to try to get some on either side of this so we have plenty of hold. And back on there, buddy. Hold that for a second. But and actually we'll use that place that still has the glue. We'll just start our piece there. You can take something cold and metal, and you can use that to push in so that the kids don't get their fingers in the glue. And the colder the better. Okay, so then once that dries a little bit, we're going to be really careful because it is still a little bit hot, but some of the cooler temp guns might work better for the younger kids. But parents, this is the part you will have to help with. So we're just going to start wrapping this around. Now this part is not a pattern per se, it's just making sure that we are getting good coverage on all of the angles, and I also want to make sure that we're covering that center spot. I like my center spot covered. I like the little dot in the center to show. And we're just I'm gonna do this with just one kind of yarn. You can tie it off and glue it off and change colors of yarn as often as you'd like. But for some of our kiddos, it's cool just to use the yarn the way that it comes, and it's less confusing. But we're just gonna go all around here, making sure that we are getting a good tight fit, and we're keeping those pieces together, and they're not gonna come off on our kiddo when they're doing their weaving. Now the next color in my yarn is black, and this particular one. So I'm going to finish off this green, and it's starting to turn now into the black color. And now we can begin. Now, if you were going to change your color of yarn, all you need to do is just find which side looks better. I think this would be the back. And just, you know, put a little dot of glue, set it there, and trim it. And then just start your next color of yarn where you left off. Okay? But since we have this color changing yarn, get all this out of the way. Since we have the color changing yarn, we can just go right into weaving. And this is how you do this, okay? Now there's lots of different ways you could do it, and some of the younger kids, maybe they just want to wind it around all different ways, and I encourage that completely because the skills that they're using are the same as the skills that they would use to do a pattern with their hands, their fine motor skills, and that's what we want to encourage, is the gripping and the moving and the problem solving with the yarn. So, okay, kiddos, so once you get to this part, this is where you get to have fun weaving. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go around and then under the next one. See if I can get my yarn out of the way here. And around into the next one underneath. Around to the next one, under and over. Around and over. You stay on the same side, and then you're going to meet back. If you see, we've already got our black starting to form. We go around and we just keep going. We're going to go under the next stick and do a loop, under the next stick and do a loop, and under the next stick and do a loop, under the next stick and do a loop, and you just keep going just like this. And you want to try to keep it nice and tight. And if you mess up, all you got to do is just unravel it a little bit, figure out where you went wrong, and go back. But you know, this is one of those things that for kids, they just like to do it. And it's fun to just see what happens, see what they come up with, because sometimes kids will surprise you. They will make the coolest things and have the coolest ideas for their artwork. So I'm just going to keep going, and hopefully you are able to join along. And I'll say it again. You go under the next one, make a loop, under the next one, make a loop. Just keep going in the same direction, making sure that your yarn is close up next to the one before it. Now, when we use these sticks from outside, it doesn't lay flat. So you do have some places, if you can see, where this stick sticks up further, but it's okay. It looks really cool. Just make it as tight as you can. See, we have a little knot there on the wood, so I'm just going to pull that down over that knot and just try to keep our design going. Just like this. I hope I'm not going too fast. I'll slow down a little bit so you can see. Under, over. Now under the next one, do a loop-de-loop. Under the next one, do a loop-de-loop. And just encourage your kids to keep it in the same direction. Don't turn it back and forth because you'll get confused. Which, you know, it doesn't hurt anything, but. And as you can see now, I'm going to stop right here. We have a really cool thing happening. We have these cross arcs where we're going leaping between stick to stick that make almost like a spider's web. It's pretty neat. I am going to show you how to change yarn because this black goes on for quite some time, and I'd like to try another color. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop, or maybe you ran out of string. You know, that happens. And then so grown up, we'll put just a dot of glue. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight, and I'm going to just pull it into that bead of glue. I don't know if you can see that. Just let it sit there for just a minute. And then what I like to do is, I don't tie mine off. You could tie them off, but I just think it looks neater. And I just come in here and I just trim it, just like that. Okay, you can take your spoon, do that. If you have to touch it, you can't wait, like me. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, you see where it's starting to change here. I'm actually going to go ahead and trim that. I'm going to save this yarn for some yarn painting that we're going to do later. So I'm going to keep that over there. And with this stick, so you see I'm making quite a mess here. Just keep moving it so you don't have to look at it. Now we're going to pick up right where we left off with another bead of glue right next to the other one. Actually, I'm going to go around this way. I'm going to pretend that it started here. I'm going to make sure when you add that you're continuing to do things the same way. So this should lay right next to that other one. I'm going to turn it back over to our normal method. And now I'm going to go the opposite direction just because that's how I picked it up. But we'll make sure that our yarn is doing the same thing. So you can do lefty or righty. I am ambidextrous. I use both hands, but I tend to stick with my right hand a lot of times in art for some reason. But when I play sports or pick up a bat or a tennis racket, I sometimes have trouble figuring out which one I want to use to do it. Isn't that funny? And I can write with both, but I tend to favor my right hand just because when I was younger, they told me that's what I was supposed to do. Different times, different times. Okay, so as you can see, we're really starting to build this pattern. Okay, and you know, sometimes the little parts of nature pop through, and that's good. You can see that we're now starting to get color. So go ahead and continue on. And I will continue here, and then I'll show you how to finish this off in just a few minutes. And I don't have music on today. I probably should put some nice royalty-free music on. I probably will do that in the future. But I was a little bit nervous today because this is the first time I've done this. I do it every day for my students in class, but it's different. It's really different when you can't read your audience. You know, it's like being a stand-up comedian and not knowing how your audience is feeling about your jokes. It's a little bit different. My daughter is here with me.
Hi.
My daughter is a very talented artist as well in her own right. She's my helper. All right, what do you think, Hannah? Do you think this is enough of the teal?
Yes.
Okay, and what color do you think we should do next?
Orange.
Orange, okay, she wants to do the orange next. That'll be cool. Why did you pick orange, I wonder?
Because it matches.
Because it matches?
Or not, I don't know.
It's probably because blue and orange are complementary colors.
That's what I meant.
On the color wheel, I'm just going to go ahead and take some of this off. I cannot see what my camera is seeing, so I apologize if I'm making you dizzy. I'm going to go ahead and put this right where these two come together. I'm just going to put them in the same glue dot. Isn't that efficient? And then I'm actually going to go around once just to make sure it stays. And then I'm going to make sure I'm going back in the direction where it's laying flat. If you all can see that right there, it should lay flat next to the blue. If it's going this direction, your weaving will not look nice. So you want to make sure that you are going at least looking like you're going in the same direction as you go around each piece. And I like the way that looks. I think that was a good choice. But you know, maybe you're a girl and you like pink and purple. So maybe you want pink and purple. And I'm going to the next color I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to use that larger And here I've got a little knot because this is furry. Furry yarn knots up really easily, so be careful. I'm going to go with something that's that fat yarn so that you can see the size 6 yarn. And I'm getting to the point where it's almost about done. I maybe can go one more round here. That's not going to reach, so don't try to make that reach. We're going to just go ahead and use this as our stopping point. We're going to just put a dot of glue there. And because I don't have the other piece cut yet, I'm going to go ahead and just glue that in. And once it actually gets, you know, in there and solidified, it'll stay pretty good. And you can't really, I mean, honestly, when you're looking at it, you can't really tell. And that's what I like about the hot glue, is it just looks nicer. I think it's a nicer finished product. You do have to be there, but you know, you don't have to have it. If you don't have glue, you don't have a hot glue gun, just tie it off into a little tiny knot and then trim it back once you're completely finished with your project, okay? So the next thing that we're gonna do is maybe, I don't know, let's decide. I don't like that. I wonder if we should do that or maybe this blue. I don't know. I kind of like the green. What are your thoughts, Hannah? Which one do you like better?
I like the green.
I like the green too. That's my favorite. All right, so we're going to go where we left off, which is right here. And we went this way, so we're going to start here. This is very big. This is chunky yarn, so we have to make sure we get a good seal on those little ends, just carefully. Now, I'm so used to touching hot glue, but be careful. Please be careful.
If you use hot glue so much and you accidentally burn yourself, you just get used to it.
Yeah, I guess you do. Okay, so now we're gonna take, but look how fast this chunky yarn really works up. You know, it's for the younger kids and maybe even special needs students, this would be a way to do this project quickly and very colorfully with the least amount of stress for them. But this is really fun, and it's fun even for grown-ups. I think a lot of people would be surprised at how therapeutic that art can be. Even the simplest project can really bring joy. And I'm going to just keep going with this. And then I might do one more color because I'm crazy like that. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do a thin one or if I want to do another chunky. I don't know. She wants white. Let's see what white looks like.
Nope.
I think I want pink. I think I'm going to do pink on mine. But like I say, you can just keep going. If you don't have all the different yarns, just use one kind of yarn. And now that you know how to do it, you can show everybody in your life how to do it. And you can sit around and have a little bit of a little weaving party together. I'm going to pick pink, I think. I just like the way that it's bright. I wanted to keep that little guy in there, but I'm going to put some more glue on there when I put this next piece on. I don't think we're going to need too much. I don't even think we'll need that much, but just to be on the safe side. I don't want to wrestle that yarn ball around. So we're going to start right where we left off, right here. We have that little bit of green, and there's some sticking up. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue. And then put this right in there, just like that. Being careful not to burn myself. This doesn't really feel like that high of a temperature to me, but... Alright. So now, I almost did the wrong thing. Look at that. See? On the back, you gotta watch yourself. Okay. So we'll go this way. Laying it right next to the one before it. Over to the next. And actually, I'm doing a no-no. I told you to leave it the same direction for your kids. And you will find this. Oh, that wasn't nearly enough. You will find this all over the internet, this style. And you can come up with other ways of weaving over, under, over, under. I mean, it's really fun. Now, the one thing that I will add to this that I decided to do when I was with my kids in my classroom is to add some little fringy things on the end. You don't have to do that. It's beautiful just the way it is. But I think it's kind of fun to make it different. And it's something that I haven't seen done a lot. So it will set yours apart from everyone else's. Making sure that that's a nice, good seal with that hot glue. Pull away your little stringies. And we mostly have finished. Now, we're going to take some of our blue from the center. And let's do blue and orange together.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to cut some little sections like this big. And you can do 2 on each one. You can do 4. And we're just going to measure, I guess that's like 4 inches, 4.5 maybe. I don't know.
No.
I don't have my ruler here. That's about 4.
Really?
I think so. Anyway. Doesn't really matter, just however long. And I've got a set, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, we have 6 of these, so we'll need to do 2 more. And there you go, we've got these. And what I like to do is I like to take them here just on the ends, and you can glue them if you want to, and you can also wrap. I mean, if you would rather wrap them, you can wrap them. But really, it's, either way.
It doesn't really matter. Yep,
it doesn't really matter. And you can even go down here, say like you want to wrap, you can wrap it around that and cover that end. But sometimes I feel like that it takes away from the piece in the center too much. I mean, if I was going to paint it, I'm such a purist, I'd probably paint it black just to make it show better. But these little flangey things are kind of fun hanging off the end. And it makes it more festive. And you can hang these from your chandelier over your table. You can put them in the windows. I mean, several of these in a window would be really nice. You can put a magnet on it and put it on the refrigerator. And you can even come in here and take these apart if you wanted to kind of pull them apart, make them kind of fringy. You can do that too. This guy doesn't really want to do that, but it just makes it kind of festive and happy. So that's what you do. Just tie them all around, and you don't have to do that. Some people don't like that extra little flare on the ends. Just depends on personal choice. But when you're doing something fun and crazy, and there's no risk involved, go for it, is what I say.
At first I was a little concerned.
Oh, you
but
didn't?
Now that there's more than one of them, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, isn't it? And actually, I'm actually not liking, I wish I had one more.
Yeah.
One more going across here. But, it doesn't matter. I had 3 sticks. I probably should have put 4 on this one. But that would have looked even cooler. It's okay. Hindsight's 20/20. So we're almost wrapped up, and I hope that you will take a little marker or Sharpie and have your artist put their name on it, and maybe the year, to have a memory of some of the things that you did when we were in quarantine. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's probably gone longer than I imagined it would. But I hope you've had fun. This is the first time I've done this, so hopefully I'll get better at doing it. And I hope it was easy to understand and that I didn't work too fast. But we'll see. I'm sure people will let me know what works and what doesn't.
Please do, so we can make it better for you.
Alrighty. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We have come to the end of our craft project. It does look a little bit crazy, like a wild-haired cartoon character a little bit. But it's a lot of fun. And sometimes art is about doing it, about the experience of doing it. It's not even always about the product. And some of my projects coming up will be really just fun things to do that don't necessarily yield a museum worthy piece, but they're just for fun and to get kids excited about doing things with their hands and using those fine motor skills. So I hope you've enjoyed this time, and I'll see you next time.